Hi folks, thanks for joining me today. This is just a very brief video on a topic that's very close to my heart, and that is stigma and how people stigmatize other people. And that's in terms of mental health. So, very quick video. Stigma works through disinformation, if you like, and also people making assumptions without actually checking out the evidence behind that. So one of the things that we come across quite frequently is that there's a perception that people who live with mental illness are inherently more dangerous than other people. And that's just not true. The statistics don't bear that out. But there is that stigma there, and that means that people don't talk sometimes about their diagnosis for fear of that being used against them in some way, shape, or form. So that's the first thing that I want to get out there, if you like. Particularly, this is a problem in terms of violence when people think of schizophrenia and they make that link between a condition and a behaviour. And again, that's not borne out by the facts. And that means that people are much less likely to talk about their diagnosis of schizophrenia. So we really have to be careful in terms of how we're approaching people and how we're categorizing people, and just to be aware of that, because that's what stigma is about. It's about not being aware of situations. So that's the first thing. There's also a perception, and I speak as someone with bipolar disorder, so I see this, that person is defined by their mental health status, if you like, or by their diagnosis. So someone might say, well, he's bipolar, hence, these are the behaviors that we would expect. This is what we expect in terms of, how that person lives their life, when in fact, it's not like that at all. All of these conditions are on a spectrum, and each individual has an individual condition. And so by generalizing, that takes away the dignity of that person who's being judged and who's being categorized. So we really need to think about that. And also, people can be very productive in society. They can do important jobs. They can do lots of different things. They can be great parents. They can be very much involved in their community and still have a mental illness. So having a mental illness or that diagnosis doesn't throw people out. It says, okay, well, this is what someone's dealing with. But actually, that's not what defines them. They're much more than that. So that's important. Also, and I've heard this quite a few times about people with a diagnosis who take medication, that in some way that taking medication is a bad thing. Now, that's a big issue. And also, I have heard people say to people who have a mental health condition, if they're in a particular situation and maybe they're having a disagreement about something, and the other person will say, oh, have you taken your tablets today? Implying that, the vicissitudes of human emotions can be boiled down to that particular way of looking at things. So that's not right either. And that can be very difficult for someone who's on the receiving end of that, because it's stigmatizing them. And again, it's saying, okay, you are your condition. And that's not how it is. And we know that. I would also say that, and this is really important, that wherever that stigma exists, then it means that people are less likely to talk about their illness, and also they're less likely to seek out help in order to help them to get through whatever it is that they're going through. And we know that the sooner that people seek out therapy, then the results can be better for them. So that's really important. So that stigma that surrounds engaging in therapy, or whatever it might be, that is detrimental to people as well. So that's really all I wanted to say. And what can we do about it? Well, we can think about what we say to other people, and we can challenge our own preconceptions about what mental illness looks like and how people deal with that. And that's a very healthy thing to do, because stigma is discrimination, and discrimination often flows or always flows from a lack of information or not having a full grasp of what that individual is going through. So individually, being more open to what that person is experiencing, but also having empathy for what they're going through as well. That's really important. But also talking about it, being able to talk about mental health and mental illness in a healthy way, so people feel relaxed when they're doing that. That's where we need to get to, and we're just not there yet, but we're getting there, I guess. So we're individuals. We're individuals with a diagnosis, but we're individuals. And most of us contribute, as I've said before, to society in a positive way. And that's what we should be encouraging, and not pushing people away from seeking help or talking about whatever it is that they're going through. So stigma's been on my mind, and I thought I would just give a few pointers there in terms of how I view it. And I hope it's been helpful.